Hey, in this video, you are going to discover how to open a company in China as a foreigner. And today with me, Simon, he actually did it as a foreigner. He opened companies in China, so he's going to share his experience. And Simon himself, he has a company for packaging in China. So if you're looking for packaging for e-commerce, for products, he has a lot of solutions for that. We're going to have a special link in the description, maybe with some goodies and offers for you if you're looking for packaging in China. But today we're going to talk about opening a company there. So Simon, can you introduce yourself, man? And then we're going to show the steps and explain people. Yeah.
Wonderful. Hi, Vova. It's great to be here. Thank you very much. Let's just jump right into it. I'm Simon, and I came to China 5 years ago. I opened a few companies in a few different cities, and I'm here to share my experience on how to open a company, how complicated it is, and how much it costs, and what is the running cost, what is the yearly cost, and what is the benefit of it. And I think there is a lot of fear about this subject because first of all, it's China, it's a different language. And second of all, it's far. So people, usually traders, like small to medium-sized traders, they would not even think about how to open a company in China. They would just pay their suppliers somehow. They will run their business in a way that they don't really have engagement in China legally or anything like it. And I think it could change. And the main benefit, I would say, that opening a company in China, first of all, it's tax, okay? So when you go on a trip or you go whatever vacation you are going, usually in the airport there is a tax refund place. So foreigners are not supposed to pay tax for what they are buying in a foreign country, right? And the same goes for trading. So when a company, it doesn't matter if it's a foreign company or a local company, when a company is exporting stuff out of China, they are not supposed to pay the tax for it. So every year, when the year finished, our company is applying for tax refund for the tax we pay. So for example, we pay the factory, let's say we bought this pen, okay? And we bought it for $1. Okay, it's a bit expensive for a pen like that, but let's say we bought this pen for $1, and the factory is adding 13% tax for that pen, right? Now, this tax is something that we pay the factory. And above this tax, we also added our margin, right? So at the end of the year, we are asking this 13% back from the government. This is the tax refund we are getting for what we export out of the country. Okay, does that make sense so far?
So you open a company in China, right? You said it's one of the main benefits. And then as a Chinese company, for a foreigner, you can get refunded these 13%.
Yeah, so the factory, when they price a company, when I buy goods from a certain factory, no matter what factory it is, no matter what I buy, I'm supposed to pay the tax for it. Okay, the factory is, when it's exported from the country, it needs to be taxed. And then that's what the 13% for. And then after the year is being finished, there is a tax refund which we can apply for. So for example, if you are an Amazon trader, okay, and every year you are buying in China goods, say for $100,000, okay, from this $100,000, there is probably 13% that need to be refunded. Okay. So if it's all exported from China, let's say you bought everything in China and you bought it for 100K, there is 30% which every year you can ask for refund, and not many traders know that. So for example, sometimes when you ask a factory you buy something from a factory, they are actually giving you a price, and above their margin, there is another 13% which they are getting refunded anyway on your goods. So if you have your own company in China, you can get this tax refund yourself. You don't need the factory making this money, or the trader or whoever it is. So actually, this is the major benefit of having your own company, is that you can actually tax refund every end of the year. You can tax refund the things you bought. That's one. Second, you pay in the local currency. Paying in the local currency saves you a lot of hassle. And third, it's how they treat you. When it looks different when you have a company in China and you're trying to buy something from China. When you go to a factory and you say, hey, I pay in Chinese yuan, I have a company here, they will probably feel like this guy is not, it's not the typical small trader. They will just look at you differently, and they will, I don't know, I would say more respect, and maybe the pricing could be even better when you're using your own Chinese entity to buy your goods. This is why I think it's very important. Now, probably everybody is thinking like, okay, it is important to open a company in China and there is tax refund and it looks good, it gives a better impression, but how much it costs, right? It fits me or it doesn't fit me. So first I have to say that if you are a small trader, let's say if you buy goods from China every year of about maybe $10,000 or $20,000, this doesn't make sense to open a company in these kind of volumes. Okay, I think above 60, 70K, it start to make sense. Start to actually make sense. So small volume trader doesn't really need to open a company here because there is a running cost, okay? And there is an ongoing thing that you need to take care of. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really make sense to do it. But if you are above maybe say 50K, 50,000 USD, then it start to make sense to open your own company. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
It's water.
Okay. That's good, man. I have some
So
chai here. Yeah.
wonderful. I bet the chai is awesome.
Yeah, it is. All right.
I
So
really
you're
miss it,
saying
man.
that the cost, man, you say it's maybe more efficient for those who have already reached some results and they're buying maybe on $50,000
Yeah,
a year. And then how much does it
yeah.
cost to run this, you mean?
Okay, so if you go to a typical agency, it's gonna cost you a lot. It's like about maybe four to $6,000. But if you know the right people and you go to a local agency, they charge like 90% cheaper. So there is some companies that all they do is open companies for foreigners. Obviously, the price is very high, but there is some decent company out there that can charge you maybe $1,000 for the whole process or $1,500 for the whole process. That's the cost of the opening, registering the company. Now there is another cost, which is the ongoing cost of the company, the yearly cost, like accountant and address. Accounting and address, hiring accountant is about 800 to $900 per year if your volume is not too high. If your volume is too high, there is a more job for them to do, and then the price start to get higher. But usually the price of accounting every year here is about $800 to $900. Above that, you have to pay another $400 for the address, something like that, yearly. This is basically it. So, okay, there is the most important thing we didn't say is that you have to fly to China. You can't do it from abroad. You have to be here for like a week or for like 10 days for the process until the process ends, and then you can go. But again, the initial cost of opening a company is the fair price is about 1,500 USD, and then there is the running cost of it's another about 1,500 per year. This is the cost that you should be paying for running a company in China. Now, out there is some companies that can charge you 5,000, 7,000, I heard even $8,000, but that's not the fair price to pay. It's a bit over, it's not a bit, it's super overpriced, and the normal price is about 1,500.
You're gonna in the description leave maybe if you have the contacts of maybe people who have these maybe fair prices, and we can share. Maybe you have some affiliate relationship with them, so maybe you have some discount. I don't know, man. Anyway, we're gonna leave it in the description if it's cool for the viewers, because maybe they might be interested. Yeah, you said you have to fly to China and you have to pay about 1,500 or more or less, but then you have to pay recurring fees to keep it up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Would you like to add anything else on top of that? Because I also wanted to ask you after this, the process itself, like, do we fly first? Do we fill first? Do we, how to, maybe you could outline the steps when you finish the costs, I guess. So let me know what you think.
I think this is about it, about the cost. This is all it is. Then the process itself is basically, if you plan to come, you have to first buy the plane ticket, and then get your passport with you, and that's it. Of course, you have to pick a name, which is obvious. There is some certain things that you're supposed to put inside your company license. Okay, so you need to say what you're gonna do. Is it services? Is it export? If it's services, what services it is. If it's export, what export it is. And then this is some things that are very intuitive, and the agency will walk you through it without any issues. The thing is that they will ask you what is the initial capital of the company. Usually the initial capital of the company doesn't influence anything. It's for example, you say $100,000 is the initial. This doesn't mean that you have to put this capital into the company as soon as you open it. Okay, this is just a number on a paper, nothing more, nothing less. So the actual cost to do things It's very cheap, in my opinion. It's a few $100s and you have a company. Running it is also very cheap, and the benefit is relatively high if you are a small, medium trader. Obviously, if you are bigger than that, makes much more sense.
But like, how do we do this? Like, do we first contact the company that helps and they provide us maybe with the outline? But maybe what was your process for you? I'm just curious. Maybe you first, as you
Okay.
said,
Yeah, so for me, I speak fluent Chinese, so I did everything myself. I didn't even pay an agency to do it.
yes.
Okay, so I walk all this process myself, and this process evolve. Obviously, if you are a foreigner in China and you don't speak Chinese, you can't do it yourself. You have to pay someone to do it because you're gonna go to government offices which doesn't speak a word in English, and it's just gonna suffer if you don't have
Okay.
Chinese. But if you wanna pay someone just because you don't have time or for whatever reason, the process is that you provide a name, you provide what you do, you provide your passport, and they jump between offices, like maybe 4 or 5 offices, like export office and then the custom office, and this is pretty much it.
I
Yeah, all you
understand.
need to do is again, your passport, provide a name, provide what you do. The rest is just intuitive. It's very intuitive.
All right, man.
So it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, it takes about 7 to 10 days to open, and obviously this is the first bit. The second bit is to open a bank account. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
a bank account is also something that agencies provide. Obviously, if you have a company, you want to have a bank account, otherwise you can't really do business. And a bank account, it's something that they usually put in the package. Like say, if they ask you for 1,500 USD to open the company, it usually involves the bank, because they already have some banks which they work with for a long time relationship, and they go to these banks and they open like accounts in bulks. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really add much to the price. You do need to ask when you open a company, you do need to ask the agency, is it include the bank account opening, or it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
include the bank account? Is it include the address? It doesn't include the address. How much is the yearly fee for the address? How much is the yearly fee for the management of the company? All these questions must be asked, but again, it's very easy, it's very straightforward, and yeah, there is a big benefit of doing it. So another benefit is that China has some free trade zones, some areas that there is a free trade zone. And so companies that have revenue, say up to $1 million, they pay zero tax. And above that, they just start to paying their tax. So this is another thing that, another benefit that having a company in China is someone can gain. And I must say that all these things that I've said is not applying for all China, because in China, China is big and there is many different provinces, and each province have its own rules. I open
Mm-hmm.
companies until now in 2 different provinces. Okay, I open in Shanghai and I open in Kunming, which is Yunnan province. Now, some small things, small details. I don't think there's much like a major difference, but there is some small details in different provinces. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something you should consider, and this is pretty much about it.
Yeah, in the description, man, I'll remind our listeners, viewers, we have your contacts. Actually, you don't do the registrations of companies, but you have packaging companies. So in case people would be interested, Eco Brothers, packaging for e-commerce sellers, and a lot of solutions for packaging. Yeah, we've mentioned that it's pretty easy. Takes like a few $1,000s, and then you have a few $1,000 or $1,000 and something to keep it running. It takes between 7 to 10 days. It's relatively simple. You can't do it alone if you don't know Chinese, so then you have to pay. If you know Chinese, you can still pay or do it yourself to go through that process. But basically, if you do it through someone, you just give them your main details and they'll just do it for you. That's usually how it works, and I think it kind of makes sense. So yeah, man, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this video, man?
Nothing any much more important that I have to say. I just want to say that every company that is dealing with China and they have a small to large volume of trades, they supposed to seriously consider doing this. It's revenue. It's just more revenue. That's the way it is. There is more to gain from doing this, and there is nothing really to lose.
Yeah, these 13%
Yeah,
can add up, be a lot of money. So if the cost of running the company plus the hustle is worth it for you and ongoing basis, if your business is growing, so you're going to be saving or making whatever you put it, right, a lot of money. Like,
exactly.
mhm.
Exactly. You know, Vova, there is some companies that all they do in China is they are living on this 13%. So they know that there is a lot of foreigners that don't really have companies here. So they
Mhm.
trade things from the factory. They don't add any margin into it. They
Mhm.
just live on the tax refund because the tax refund every year is 13%. And
Yeah.
so if they are doing all this trade through their own company, they're just making this 13% of tax refund, and then that's it.
Yeah,
That's how they do business.
right, man. Awesome. So we're gonna have all your contacts in the description with what you do, your factory for e-commerce packaging, and maybe your partners, or I don't know if you are partners, just to, I mean, the company that can help with registering. So we'll leave it there if you know someone, and if not, maybe yeah, we'll just
I
maybe
do. Yeah.
All
Why
right,
not?
perfect. So yeah, we'll share some good companies, and also I know one. I know the guys. It's Game On Group by Chen Saban. I think maybe they do register. I don't know. Well, I'll leave it there. I know the guys, so they are
I don't
legit
know.
as well. But anyway, yeah. Thank you, man, and to all our listeners, viewers, have a good day.